navigating
This conference will now be recorded.
And we'll click on customer support, customer portal. And in this case, it's already logged in, so I'm just going to log out. So you get to your login screen, you log in, and from here you can. This is available, obviously 24/7 from any mobile as well as web browser. On here you have the top navigation as well as this buttons. If you are looking at it on a mobile device, it would look like this. So it has big buttons for you to navigate the different sections. And first thing is you have access to voicemails.
Okay.
As an end user. If you are receiving voicemails and keeping them in the system, if you are choosing to have emails sent to you by email and delete it afterwards, then this is always going to be 0.
Okay, and just to verify, the voicemail to email is a built-in feature like most VoIP systems.
Exactly, and from here you can see if you know what you're currently using. So in my case, this is my own extension. So my extension is active, so it would show active if your physical phone is connected and online.
Okay.
And here, real quick, you can see: am I forwarding my calls? In this case, no. Do I have voicemail to email enable on? Do I keep the voicemail after it's been sent? In this case, no. What I do is I have the system auto-delete my voicemail, so after I receive it on my email or my mobile device, I don't want to have to go back to my phone and check it. But some people, it's a preference.
Yes.
Some people prefer to go to the phone and not do voicemail to email, so the user can select either or.
Got it.
Last but not least, multi-follow. Some companies will call it follow me. It means that I have additional settings where if you call me at the office and I don't pick up, I have a secondary location defined on here, and this is on, and I'll show you guys what that looks like in a second. So Let's click on extension. When you go to extension, this is where you have your extension display name. This is also shows up when you're calling internal users. So this is what shows up on that caller ID. If an employee left, this is where you would change that name. If you're doing it on behalf of others, this is where you would reset your password to the portal itself. And in this case, I have not only portal access, but manager access, and we'll talk about that in a second. This shows the call log, where if you have incoming calls. Some of these calls, as you can see, are coming from some of the queues, and you can see if they're outbound or inbound. If you had voicemails, you will be able to list them here, and also play them, forward them, delete them, etc. Voicemail settings, you can change the voicemail password if you're choosing to check your voicemails on the phone, or you need to go in and change your greeting. And this is where you would turn on and off voicemail to email.
Okay.
So in this case, I do like voicemail to email, and I like to keep voicemail to off, so that way there's no blinking light on my phone when I get back.
Gotcha.
This would essentially delete the voicemail after sending it by email. You wanted to do call forward. Let me turn this off so I could kind of go over this. So call forward is a forward where it will send every call to either an external number or an extension. Let's say somebody was filling in for you for the day. You can just simply say, hey, Erica is going to get all my calls if I hit save here. Or I'm going to send all my calls to my cell phone. I don't know if you noticed, but the cell phone number was already there.
Right.
The system is going to remember the last number that you forwarded to, which comes in handy as opposed to having it to type it up. So you essentially turn it off, hit save, and you're good. Multi-follow, which is what I typically use. I have a mobile app with extension 193, and what happens is that it basically rings my phone extension and my office phone at the same time with confirmation.
Right.
So confirmation is going to say, you got a call from the office, you want to accept it, press 1 for yes, or 2 for no, but when you decline it, instead of going into my cell phone's voicemail, it would actually go back to the office voicemail, which has voicemail to email, and people like that.
Right.
Contacts is a new section where you can add contacts that you want to access regularly.
Okay.
And that pretty much shows everything that an end user will have access to. from an extension perspective. They're managing their own extension.
Right.
So the next level of access would be somebody that still is only trained at the extension level, but is somebody that can make the same exact number of changes for anybody in the company.
Okay.
So that would give you this drop down, which would allow you to select somebody else. And for, let's say I was the receptionist and I got a call, and here Ivan says, "Hey, I'm on the road. Can you forward my calls?" You would essentially now be managing Ivan's extension, and you could basically send calls to his cell phone.
Okay.
Ivan could probably do it himself from the mobile device, but here's a way that you can help Ivan when he's on the road.
Yep.
So that is what the second level, which is manager access. The third level, in addition to those two, is admin access. What this means is that not only can you access all the extensions and make changes on behalf of all the users at the extension level, you would also get access to the PBX setting. And here you have access to DID management. DID is all of your phone numbers.
Right.
Where you could come in and say, look, instead of we're going to be closing today, and I have Giovanni here that's going to be getting all the calls. Giovanni has his calls forwarded to his cell phone, and I'm just going to send all the calls to him. One of the things that we did here is that we created this temporary area in a way that makes it very easy to turn it off and put things back to normal.
Okay.
On here, you can do things like even playing a media file that you have. You can say, hey, play this file. I'm just looking for a quick media file here.
Sure.
Play this file to let people know that we're closed today, but still I'm going to forward the call afterwards to Giovanni. Okay. Or I can send it to an auto attendant. It's anything that had changed to the typical call flow of those calls coming in. You can modify your auto attendants. Change prompts. You could add media files. So if you needed to record a new media file, it would be as simple as creating a file. And then once you create the file, you could say, call me at 113 so I could record that file.
Okay.
Once the file's been recorded and saved, you could associate it to many different areas of the system. Or if you had somebody custom record a file, maybe a professional company, you could basically update the file using this link here. We have tons of conditions that could be based on time, like your holidays. You can set up all of your holidays for the year and have the system do something if it is a holiday, do something else if it's not. Something that's very commonly used is the business hours one, where you could essentially define your business hours, and this is as easy as drag and drop. And when you're within business hours, do this. And when it's outside of business hours, maybe you want to send the calls to a messaging service or anything like that. Some companies do cascading conditions where the system first checks for holidays, then checks for business hours, and so on. So people get pretty creative here. Okay. Ring groups are groups that can be associated through the auto attendant. So if you say press 1 for sales, you could add the people that the call needs to ring to, whether it rings at the same time, it could ring in linear mode or cycle mode. There is the ability to blacklist numbers right from here, and tell the system a reason so you know why you blocked that number. And then there are some integrations here that we are starting to build. Our first integration is Soho CRM, which allows you to do some cool things alongside with the CRM, and we have some others that are coming. So I think that's a quick overview of the customer portal.
Sure. Now, Giovanni, I noticed on the dashboard there is a big green button that says faxes.
Okay.
Tell me about faxes.
So we offer free incoming fax to email. Right. It's included with every account. Okay. So we'll take your phone number and deliver all of your faxes to an email address of your choice. Okay. And the fax gets converted to a PDF.
Okay.
This is a way where you can actually access those faxes. Okay. Right from here. You could look at your faxes. You could download the fax.
Right.
Now, there is a product that we are releasing in the next few weeks, which is outgoing fax. And that's something that we could talk about briefly here.
Yes.
As you can see, I've been testing a lot of the statuses here. So it's very basic. You send a fax, choose the phone number that you're sending from that's activated for faxing.
Right.
You type your phone number, and then you can attach a file. That file has to be a PDF, and you hit send.
Okay.
You will be able to see here that when the fax has been queued up, when it's in progress, and if it's successful. Or here, I was trying to get the system to give me a failure. So I was faxing my phone number, my cell phone number, and this shows that it was abandoned because it didn't go through.
Okay. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but you did say that the fax feature is currently functional. You just haven't built it into the billing modules yet, so that if a client really wanted to be using the send to fax feature, which I think may be possible with some of our clients that are interested in the system, we can set it up so that they can do that. But you won't be charging until you get it fully integrated, like in the next few weeks.
Exactly. So we're offering a free trial, beta trial. We've gotten some great feedback, from some of those users that are doing the trial.
Yep.
One of them was they want to see when the fax is actually going through and when it's queued up and that sort of thing. And those have been great enhancements.
Okay.
So yes, if there's someone interested in trying out the service, be more than happy to set them up on a trial. And the nice thing about this is that every user that has access to the portal can fax out right from here, right from their desk. Okay. Similar to when they walk up to a fax machine and anybody can have access to it. So
okay, do you have an anticipated how much you're going to charge for that sending fax feature?
Yeah, so the price is going to be $19.99 per fax, but a single company doesn't need more than one fax because there's unlimited users, and it's 500 pages included, and then 8 cents a page above the 500.
Okay.
Most fax services give you $250,
right?
But you're using it for incoming and outgoing. So we're giving you $500, but incoming is free.
Okay.
So you're maximizing those 500 pages for sending out.
Okay, and that's a flat $19.99 for the entire company.
For the entire company, because and then you just make sure that every user is set up as part of the onboarding, that every user is set up for customer portal access, and they can access it from here. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and there's no limitations on the number of employees who want to access it. So if we onboarded a client with 50 or 70 or 100 employees, they can all be granted access to this entire web console with no additional charges.
No additional charge, and they're all consuming, if you're referring to faxes, they're all consuming from that pool of 500 pages.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, I think that was a good thorough, I can't think of anything else. I mean, there may be additional questions during an actual live demo, but I just wanted to get this recorded so that we could kind of give people a preview.
I'll just show you one more thing, because this is something that's currently only available with the premium version, the premium plan, but this is something that we will be rolling out as part of the Pro plan. So all of our plans will have this, which is the attendant console. So it's a sidecar type of technology that's accessed through the web.
Right.
Essentially, you can see who's on the phone, who's not on the phone, which phone is online, offline, and you could have favorites if you want to make this shorter, and you can also transfer calls, call barge and so on. So just wanted to show that piece is there.
And I actually think that's probably going to be one of the most requested things, especially from receptionists and et cetera, is the ability to see kind of in real time who's on the phone, who's available, who's talking to who. And how soon do you anticipate that this is going to be bundled into the Pro plan?
Within the next few weeks, I would say within a month or two.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Right now, only premium customers do that, so we're consolidating everything onto the Pro plan.
Right.
So we're moving on to a single plan, with everything else that was part of the premium being a la carte.
Okay. All right, and the Pro plan is not going to be, the pricing is going to stay where it is, right? It's
the pricing is going to be the same
Okay.
with the same options here.
Okay, awesome.